All right, guys, it's time to spice things up a bit. I'm talking about cinnamon. Cinnamon was featured in my top 10 autumn notes video. This note is practically defining autumn. It's sweet, hot, fiery, cozy, and super addictive. And this note is perfectly made for sweater weather. Now, this is part of my top 10 autumn notes deep dive video, as I said, and I've decided to take all of the notes in that video, there's 10 of them, and break those notes down into individual videos. So those of you that don't want to watch these long form deep dive videos, you can watch the notes individually in separate videos, which makes them easy to find also on YouTube. Now, let me know if you have a favorite cinnamon fragrance. Add a comment below and watch the video, and I'll come back and wrap up the video. So cinnamon, I love putting on my lattes or cappuccinos. I think it's a great taste. I also love them on pies or, you know, fruit kind of desserts. It's perfect that way. I just love the smell of it. I like the flavor of it, and I consider it very, I mean, even though it's got a kick, it's a spice, it's got a kick. I find it to be cozy because it reminds me of autumn months when you're baking these kind of like autumn desserts. A lot of times baking like apple pies and things like that. And, you know, you add that kind of a spice to it. So I consider it to be a really awesome autumn spice. What are your thoughts? Let me know. Add a comment below. I've got 5 great fragrances here that feature cinnamon. First of which is Divine Temptation from the house of REINE de SABA. This is a Matthew Nardin creation. His name is written right down there. This is a heavy duty cap, by the way. Have you guys discovered this line? It was actually sold at ZGO Perfumery for a while. I think there's been some challenges getting the brand sending fragrances here. So maybe that's why ZGO is not carrying the brand anymore. But they were here for a while. And so it was easy to go check them out. My favorite from the house is REINE Makeda, but this is probably number 2, REINE de SABA's Divine Temptation. And it's an ambery experience. It's a lot of cinnamon. There's also booziness here. It's a lot of warm spices. In addition to cinnamon, there's also cloves here. It's very balsamic in the dry down. It smells fantastic. I love this fragrance. To me, this is also something you could wear in the wintertime. It acts wintry, but I wanted to feature something that's warm and kind of seductive with the feature of cinnamon. This is so sexy. It's so awesome. Really great fragrance. I wish the brand was, you know, out more, and I don't know what happened. As I said, they were selling for a while at ZGO Perfumery, but they're not anymore, unless maybe they have some bottles left over. You can go check. But this is definitely a top 3. I love it. Look at the sprayer on top. It's got the brand's logo on there. And on top of here also, really cool attention to detail. And this thing is so heavy duty. Anyway, REINE de SABA. This is Divine Temptation, created by Matthew Nardin. So featuring cinnamon. So warm and spicy. I love it. Also ambery and boozy. Don't forget that. Next, it's MANCERA's TONKA Cola. TONKA Cola, it's definitely very cinnamony. Also very Tonka, also very gourmand, also cherried. I actually caught a documentary recently about cinnamon. I don't know where it was, somewhere on YouTube. And it was talking about cinnamon from Sri Lanka versus cinnamon from Thailand. So the real true cinnamon is the one that comes from Sri Lanka, and the stuff that comes from Thailand is a lower grade of cinnamon. This is what I learned. It also has, like, if you consume too much of it, there is a bit of a poison, not poison, but I'm not 100% sure on the details, but just like tonka beans, it has the same kind of chemistry, the cinnamon that comes from Thailand. And again, I don't remember if it was Thailand or another country, somewhere in one of those countries, but I guess the real stuff comes from Sri Lanka, and it's the most expensive. And I'm drawing the names of the differences between the two, but let me know if you guys are familiar with this, the differences between the cinnamons. But this TONKA Cola, the reason I brought that up is reminding me of me opening up a jar of fresh cinnamon, and it smells like a jar of cinnamon. Not this after the cinnamon has been sitting around, but there is a jar of ground cinnamon smell right in here. So it's quite warm and spicy. It eventually fizzles away. Let me spray it a little bit more. Right when it's sprayed, it smells like a jar of cinnamon. So good. But there's also cherries here, all kinds of notes. It's a really awesome gourmand, but super heavy on the cinnamon. That's why I wanted to feature it here. And somehow the cinnamon note fragrances turned out to be some of the heaviest fragrances in this category. Although as we go down, we're going to get heavier fragrances, a bit fresher when we first started the video. But again, so awesome. This is like cherries and nuts drizzled with something cinnamony and syrupy. Quite yummy. Definitely one of the best from MANCERA from the recent days. Tonka Cola. And one of my favorite fragrances, in fact, it was featured in the very first Scent Club kit. This is Rouge SARAY from Atelier des Ors. It's the second Atelier des Ors fragrance we're talking about today. I've been hoping that they would make an extrait, the Parfum version of this. I haven't yet, unfortunately, but I love the way this fragrance smells. It's got a lot of dates, it's got a lot of plums, and a lot of Peru balsam. So balsam, it's an amber, but it's balsamic. So I've always mentioned when I speak about this, it's like a bowl of chopped up, dates that are dried and dried plums and drizzled with a kind of something honeyed, syrupy, molassesy syrup, and you experience that here with a very golden amber glow combo. It's so good, so good. I wish they would make a extrait de parfum of this. They have 3 extrait de parfum fragrances of their existing fragrances. This one definitely deserves it, and to me it's the best fragrance in the collection, followed by the Cocoa Kimia, and then Lune Feline is tied with that as well. But so awesome, it's delicious. This is definitely one of the best. Let me know if you're a fan of Rouge SARAY. Add a comment below. Do you enjoy it as much as I do? Were you one of the first folks that picked up the first Scent Club kit to feature that fragrance? Do let me know. Add a comment below. So next we've got a fragrance called OAJAN from the house of Parfums de Marly. And it's a cinnamony gourmand. To me, this one gives me the idea of baklava, drizzled with the honey or a spicy kind of syrup of some kind. There is a bit of a rosiness in here for sure, but it's sticky, sweet, spicy. I mean, it's a male targeted release, but I think it's so super unisex. This bottle is a male bottle, but I just got a comment the other day that said it's too feminine. I guess I could see it if you consider gourmands or cinnamon spicy notes to be feminine. I don't think this is much more feminine than something like Herod. Herod does have the tobacco, but there's a lot of that kind of sticky notes in Herod as well. I prefer Herod over this, but this is really a nice, example or representation of cinnamon in fragrances with an overdose of a honeyed effect as well. But for sure, you'll get the rose. There's a bit of a rosiness in here, and you'll get the reminder of the Ambre Narguilé from the house of Hermes. I was out of love with the Ambre Narguilé. Then I kind of went back to it. I started appreciating its light nuances, even though I think it could use a little bit of intensification. If you don't like the intensity of OAJAN, you can go to something like Ambre Narguilé from Hermes. But the last fragrance in this cinnamon category is Ambre Supermassive from the house of Les Eaux Primordiales. Yum, yum, yum. And this fragrance was not a love at first sniff for me, but it has grown on me so much. And I think also the fragrance has gotten matured in the bottle. It's gotten thicker and denser. For sure, I prefer Vanille Supermassive, but this one, super cinnamony, ambery, spicy, boozy, sexy. Yeah, it's got a bit of sexiness. There's also apples in here, so we could have put it in the apples mix, but it's got cinnamon in here, so I felt like putting this one in the mix of cinnamon. So yeah, it acts honeyed for sure. It acts boozy, sticky and syrupy, and very, very spicy with the cinnamon. And of course, you've got the apples. And to me, it's much better than the OG. Ambre Super Fluid is the OG. I much prefer the Ambre Supermassive. Ambre Supermassive is so good, guys. Let me know if you're a fan of that fragrance. But what are your thoughts on these fragrances featuring cinnamon? Do you have a favorite cinnamon fragrance that I did not speak about today? There's a lot of cinnamon fragrances out there, although it's not the most popular note, so there's probably not as many as some other notes like vanilla, but there's quite a bit out there. I chose these very carefully fragrances I enjoy and ones that are representing cinnamon. But for me, Tonka Cola, man, it smells like I opened up a jar of ground cinnamon. Like literally it smells like it. So I can't believe how authentic it is. But let me know your thoughts on these cinnamon fragrances. Add some of your favorite cinnamon fragrances that I did not discuss today. And that's a wrap on cinnamon. It's the spice of life and also fall, don't you think? Now let me know if you have a favorite cinnamon fragrance and what your thoughts are on the cinnamon fragrances I discussed in today's video. Do add a comment down below, please, and stick around for the next video. We're gonna talk about one of my favorite things to have all year round, but tastes the best in the autumn. I'm talking about coffee.